Welcome back. The budget battle lines, as we said earlier, are being drawn today as the government warns of tough spending cuts to come. Tony Abbott says the government only has itself to blame. He wants all of the carbon tax details also included in next month's budget. Otherwise, he says, it won't be worth the paper it's written on. Well, joining us now to look at this and all the other issues on the agenda in politics this afternoon, Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg's in Melbourne, and in Sydney, Ed Husic, Labor MP. Ed, first to you. Doesn't Tony Abbott have a point here that if you don't put the carbon tax into this budget next month, it's not going to be worth that much? You're going to have to rewrite it pretty soon after.
So we have now started taking Tony Abbott seriously on economics. I mean, he, for example...
Well, just on the point, though, without getting into Tony Abbott's economic, just on this point, if you don't include the carbon tax, is the budget worth what it's written on?
Well, this is the point I was about to make. I mean, he knows fully well that we are working through that process. What he's doing is about politics, not about policy. And putting that forward is a furphy, as he's often, whenever he's talked about economics, he's clearly out of his depth. And, just like when he was telling us he could find the $5.6 billion that was required to help reconstruction in Queensland, and he couldn't do it when he had the chance to.
OK, why can't the government get the details of this carbon tax into the budget? It's a month away. You've been working on this for a long time. Surely this is the point at which you wrap things up and put it in the budget.
Because, again, we're working through with the different stakeholders, for example, with the business sector, factoring in community views. We're factoring in community views about where to head in terms of this issue, and that is not going to be a rush job for the sake of meeting a point-scoring line that's being put out by Tony Abbott.
Josh Frydenberg, the government is being methodical here, it's being transparent, it's consulting, it's negotiating, taking its time. Is that a sensible approach?
Absolutely not what the government is doing, in fact, David. Look, the fact of the matter here is that the government is tragically hopeless when it comes to managing this country's finances. It's wasted billions of dollars, whether it's on the BER or the pink bats or now the white elephant, the NBN. So, of course, it's going to talk tough. And, of course, it's going to have to make some cuts. And it would be a tragedy if it did it in the area, for example, of medical research, which would be very short-sighted.
On the carbon tax,
David, it should...
You know that the government hasn't sorted out the details here. Why this demand?
But in fact, David, that's not true. If you look at the Treasury minute that was released under FOI, dated the 16th of September last year, it priced carbon at $30 a tonne, with the impact on family household costs of more than $860 a year. So why, when
that
Julia
wasn't a
Gillard
final decision, though. That was modelling on different prices to see what.
But the Treasury's done the modelling. The Treasury's done the modelling, and this government is scared about being transparent with the Australian people about the flow-on effects to the household budgets, whether it's electricity or petrol prices. It's policy on the run, by the way.
On the spending cuts, Josh Frydenberg, you talk about the waste and mismanagement, but you must acknowledge the floods, the cyclone. Japan has put a particularly hard impact on putting together this budget.
Yeah, but this government has wasted so much money. It wouldn't be in a position where it needed to do belt tightening if it had managed the golden economic legacy that was left by the Howard government, more than $50 billion in the bank. But then under the guise of...
There was a thing called the global financial crisis, though.
Yeah, but how did they spend that money, David? Let's call a spade here, right? Let's look at how they spent billions and billions of dollars over the pink bats and the school halls, but now the NBN, which is just going from bad to worse every day, it's a $50 billion project, the biggest ever infrastructure project in Australia, and it's falling apart around us.
Ed Husic, there is a point there. The government is wearing the legacy of the waste that was associated with the pink bats and the school halls.
We last week celebrated the fact that unemployment down to 4.9%. We've created over 750,000 jobs. When Josh says, for example, we wasted money, he should come and talk to the people that kept their jobs through the global financial crisis as a result of the spending we put in, when his side of politics was saying, oh, we should do what New Zealand's doing, or we should cut back the amount of money we put in to save and stabilise the economy. And we've got other economies in the world that haven't got the same unemployment rate that we do, that are still languishing, their growth is slower, and we managed to put our nose forward. So I think it's pretty rough to say that and not be able to measure it against reality.
All right, we've got 4 weeks until the budget. I'm sure plenty of this debate to come. I want to look at defence. Josh, the inquiry Stephen Smith in about a little over half an hour from now is due to announce. It sounds like a pretty sensible idea. Bring in a QC, have a look at the culture of defence. We've seen a number of complaints raised in the last week or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the woman at the centre of this issue is very brave for coming out and letting us all know about the appalling treatment she faced, and there is, a crisis there, and there should be zero tolerance in defence and in other institutions about this sort of conduct, and we need to get to the bottom of it. So an inquiry is a good idea.
And has Stephen Smith handled this appropriately in your view?
Look, I think there's outrage in the community, there's no doubt about that, and he's got to get to the bottom of it. He's got to hold the hierarchy to account and then come clean with the Australian people how the system's going to get better, because we do not want to see this treatment meted out to anybody else.
Ed, do you worry that defence chiefs may not be acting on the orders of the minister? We see reports there's been a breakdown in communication, not following up on Stephen Smith's demands for the ADFA boss to be disciplined earlier.
Well, I think they're trying to work through, both Minister Smith and the Chief of the Defence Force are trying to work through how to deal with this, as Josh has rightly pointed to, an issue that's causing great concern in the community, and it'll involve cultural change as well, which takes a long period of time. And so we've really got to start that process of, being transparent and working through those issues and providing certainty to the community that these issues that are very serious are treated seriously, dealt with seriously, dealt with quickly, and ensure that there's, little chance for repetition.
All right, we are going to have to leave it there. Labor MP Ed Husic and Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg, thanks both for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
We're going to have a look now. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say we should have also congratulated three top guys, Ogilvy, Scott and Jason Day, for sensational performance at the Masters.
Indeed, didn't quite get there, but sensational performances. And also congrats to Josh Frydenberg for completing that 900-kilometre poly pedal.
Terrific.
I'm not sure how you've managed to scrub up for the television today, but well done, Josh.
Good on you,
All
Josh.
right, let's move on. Let's have a look at what's been happening.